Welcome to the Suburban Plan Kickoff Open House presentation. This presentation will go over the following topics: what is a community plan, why do we need a suburban plan, key topics and the process of developing the suburban plan, and engagement opportunities. We'd like to recognize that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This land is governed by the treaties of peace and friendship dating back to 1725. We recognize that we are all treaty people and have responsibilities to each other and this land. We are grateful to be living and working with you here in Mi'kma'ki. Throughout this ongoing planning process, we will reflect on the goals of truth and reconciliation, and we encourage you to do the same so we can work towards healthy, sustainable, and caring communities for all people who will call Mi'kma'ki home now and into the future. The Halifax Regional Municipality recognizes the resilience, leadership, and more than 400 years of history and contribution of the African Nova Scotians, whose legacies continue to shape our municipality. We commit to fostering respect, inclusion, and empowerment while confronting anti-Black racism and systemic inequalities in partnership with African Nova Scotian communities. This affirmation reflects our commitment to honor the past, present, and future role of African Nova Scotians in the Halifax Regional Municipality. So why are we here today? The Suburban Plan will influence the look, feel, and day-to-day experiences in our communities. The plan will impact where we live and work, how we get around, and where we shop and enjoy park spaces. We want to learn from you. What's great about your community? What could be improved in your community? What opportunities do you see? And what matters to you and your community members? We understand the planning framework for HRM can be confusing, so we want to break down the different levels of plans we work with. You may have heard about the regional plan. Over the last few years, while staff worked on updating it, it covers the whole municipality, from Hubbard's and Sambro to Muscataba Valley and the Eastern Shore up to Ecum-Secum area. The regional plan guides growth and development across Halifax Regional Municipality for the long term. Examples include where piped water and sewer should go, what lands should continue to be protected for agricultural and resource use. It also directs more detailed projects for issues such as mobility and infrastructure. We are not talking about this type of plan today. We are talking about community plans and land use bylaws. A community plan, also known more formally as a secondary municipal planning strategy, includes a community vision, local history, and context, has more details about design, heights, and land uses. It can provide opportunities beyond what the land use bylaw allows as of right in certain scenarios. A community plan is implemented through a land use bylaw and sometimes the subdivision bylaw. Regulations in these bylaws direct what is permitted on each property when applying for building permits in subdivisions. For example, building height, lot size, and permitted uses. So, why do we need a suburban plan? The answer is there are currently 21 community plans throughout the municipality. Then there are even more land use bylaws to implement the community plans. It can be very confusing and time-consuming for staff to work through when reviewing development applications, and therefore we know it's challenging for the public to make sense of. The municipality plans to simplify planning processes by eventually going from 21 to 3 community plans. We have already finished the regional center plan. Now we are working on the suburban plan, and the rural plan will come next. So, in the suburban plan study area, there are 11 community plans. Those 11 community plans will be simplified into one community plan for the whole suburban area. However, we know that there are unique characteristics of each suburban community and will not paint the entire suburban area with a single brush. The unique features of each community will be considered in this plan and land use bylaw. As well, many of the existing community plans have not been fully updated since before amalgamation, and the context has changed greatly since that time. Halifax Regional Municipality has experienced significant population growth, changing weather trends, and greater housing needs and increasing traffic. Now, let's talk about the suburban plan study area. We acknowledge that suburban can mean something different to everyone. However, we had to start with a straightforward boundary to begin engaging residents in undertaking studies. For now, the boundary includes the area that is outside of the regional center, Halifax Peninsula, and Dartmouth within the circumferential highway that has access or planned access to piped water and sewer services as well as transit. We want to make the best use of our existing infrastructure in order to be financially responsible, environmentally sustainable, and create great places to live with excellent services. This is the area we are looking at right now, but as regional planning efforts continue and we learn more through the development of the suburban plan, areas could be added or taken out. The suburban plan study area is shown using the medium blue color on the map. Please visit our webpage for a more detailed map you can zoom into to understand which areas are in and which areas are outside the boundary. Here are some facts about the suburban area. It is 184 kilometers square, which is 3% of HRM, but 51% of the population is in the suburban area. With that, there are 66,000 properties. The area has seen 14% growth since 2021. There is a 60-40 split between owners and renters. Lastly, in the suburban area, there are 280 zones in the 11 community plan areas, which shows how complicated land use planning is in the suburban area. These are the core concepts we have identified as important for the suburban plan. They were derived from engagement that took place during the regional plan review and will be tested and refined through the planning process. These include safe, diverse, sustainable, and affordable housing, because we understand people need a variety of housing depending on what stage of life they are in or in their current life circumstances. Complete communities, which really means creating communities that have everything you need on a daily basis within a walk, roll, short bus ride, or short drive from your home. Transit supportive growth, which means developing more housing around transit terminals with frequent transit services. Inclusive and accessible design, ensuring everyone can easily access services throughout the communities. Open space and culture, supporting our existing parks and cultural spaces. And human scale design, which means that even where new development occurs, the design is not overwhelming to people walking by or interacting with the building, or buildings that feel detached from the community. Here are the key topics for the suburban plan: land use and design, complete communities, housing, environment and sustainability, mobility, economic prosperity, and last but not least, culture, arts, and heritage. If you would like information on how the topics connect to the suburban plan, we have fact sheets on the topics on Engage Halifax in the suburban planning documents section of the website. Here is the timeline for the suburban plan process. From 2023 to 2025, we have completed major planning changes to support more housing, analyzed existing community plans and land use bylaws, and begun background research. Currently, we are in phase 1, the listen, learn, and confirm key directions phase. In this phase, we will engage with the community to understand their needs and local context, explore local challenges and opportunities, confirm key directions and approaches for the suburban plan. Phase 2, we are aiming to begin in 2027. In this phase, we will present a detailed draft plan and land use bylaw, gather community input to refine and improve the plan before final approval. Our last phase, we're aiming to begin in 2028. Phase 3 will include finalizing the plan after we have incorporated feedback and technical insights, and prepare for official approval by Regional Council. In the creation of the suburban plan, we are analyzing the current uses and development trends in each community and reviewing existing policies and regulations in each community plans and land use bylaws, as there may still be relevant directions to consider in the new plan. We are also coordinating with ongoing studies such as infrastructure, population growth and housing needs, emergency preparedness and risks, trends in commercial and retail spaces, and culture and heritage. We will be ensuring our already completed plans and strategies are referred to when creating this plan. Such plans include Halifax, Integrated Mobility Plan, Culture and Heritage Priority Plan, among others. We also have some ongoing planning work that we will coordinate with. This includes African Nova Scotian Community Action Planning. This work includes the community-led planning processes currently underway in Beachville, as well as recognition of other historic African Nova Scotian communities in future community action planning. Secondly, functional plans for key roads. The functional plans are the first stage of redesigning a street to improve active transportation and public transit infrastructure. Work is underway for the Wimwell Road, Portland Street, Coal Harbour Road, Bedford Highway, and Herring Cove Road. Thirdly, special planning areas. These are areas identified by the province for housing. There are 10 special planning areas in the Suburban Plan study area. And last but not least, work with Indigenous communities, exploring opportunities for collaboration with the Millbrook First Nations planning work, and working with urban Indigenous members for our community. This is the timeline for Phase 1 community engagement. Currently, we are in the kickoff open houses. The open house is the introduction to the development of the suburban plan, starting to learn about the local context, issues, ideas, and visions for each area. The next large block of engagement is commercial main streets workshops aiming for March. These will be workshops covering 10 major commercial main streets to share and learn from each other what is and isn't working and hopes for the future, test community design ideas along the main streets in the community, develop a vision for each community main street. The last major block for engagement in Phase 1 is building a framework workshops, aiming for the start of June. With this, we'll be going back to the 7 suburban areas where we held kickoff open houses to share what we have learned from public engagement, technical studies and analysis, how designations and zones work, initial ideas for how areas should be designated under a future suburban plan, and receive feedback on this information. On top of the main blocks of engagement, we will be holding interest group meetings, key partner meetings, pop-ups in the communities, and are open to attending community tours. If you have any ideas of where planning staff should host a pop-up event or attend a community tour, please reach out to us at suburbanplan@halifax.ca. We also have online engagement throughout Phase 1 of the Suburban Plan. Stay tuned to our newsletter to find out when new engagement opportunities are available. Right now, we have our introductory Suburban Plan questionnaire and an interactive map to learn more about communities in the Suburban Plan study area. If you haven't already been involved in the online engagement activities, check it out after this presentation. Thank you for watching our virtual presentation from the Kickoff Open Houses. For more information, visit our website. If you have any questions or comments, please contact us by email or phone as seen on this slide.